Right, so Darren, it's press day at Hewish Park, but we've got a few TV cameras here as well. Is that a sign of what's happening at the club at the moment?
I think when you're going through a good run of form, press want to follow you. They want to see what goes on behind the scenes. I think the ideas that they're coming up with and following the players back to their houses is quite a good thing to follow, and I think it's something that you have to think about where the players live, and it's a whole new world, and they've been following us in that. So we thank all the press for their support. I think it's important with a club like Yeovil that we get a lot of positivity, which I've tried to create as soon as I took over as manager. I said three things: sense it, see it, feel it. I think certainly over the last couple of games the supporters can sense it, and they've seen a lot of goals, and they've gone home with that winning feeling, so they felt it, and it's going well at the moment. But at the same time, it's so important this group don't become complacent. They're still young players, they're still a young squad, they're enthusiastic, and that's my job to make sure that don't happen.
And let's talk about those two games, Darren. Since we last spoke at the press conference, you've scored 9 goals in 2 games.
Yeah.
We spoke before about the lack of goals. Have you answered those critics now?
I think the players have. I did explain to them it was only a matter of time. Colchester, we should have been 3 or 4-0 up in the first half. I mean, Tom Eaves went flashed across the 6-yard box 3 or 4 times, and unfortunately it didn't go in. Well, against Crawley, that was a different scenario where every touch we had, we looked confident, we looked positive, and we put the ball in the back of the net. And unfortunately, that's the hardest thing to do in football. But at the same time, we're winning, so that's what matters.
Is that all it's down to then? Those very fine margins between a late 2-1 victory and a 5-0 hammering?
I think it is. But when you look at the players, they've played together now regularly on a week-to-week basis. To field 19 players from the start of the season to now, there's been a level of consistency, and for how hard they're working with the consistency that they've shown, they're only going to improve, and that's what you've seen is a massive improvement in that final third. And I don't know, sometimes perhaps there needs to be a level of criticism because the players have certainly responded to it.
I mean, and you talked about you've been positive since you've been here, just over a year. We spoke about your year anniversary last week as well. And but we're looking at, I've seen fans' comments on social media at the moment as well, comparing the table last year, bottom with 11 points to 6th now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's positivity around the whole club, isn't there?
There is a big turnaround, and I didn't expect anyone to jump on board straight away. But I feel as a Yeovil Town supporter, this is an amazing football club. It's got so much going for it. And I want to make sure that I can do everything that I can to make sure they're getting good value for money on the pitch, and they're getting entertainment. And so far, within the last 3 games, I think they've definitely had that. And that should make any supporter, certainly me as a manager, feel proud as to where we are right now. But I know at the same time we have to keep that going.
This weekend, Barnet at home, 3rd home game on the bounce. Obviously, you couldn't be going in much better form. I'm assuming you're confident of another 3 points.
Most entertaining game as a manager, and certainly to see the supporters like they were at that away game, that was a phenomenal scene. I really did enjoy that. It was amazing. So they posed different threat compared to what Crawley and MK Dons. Very, very physical. Akinde can cause problems. It's so important we do our homework with Akinde, certainly with Lacey and Smith, on how they deal with him, because he's a big threat. I went and watched him against Plymouth the other week, and they just got men behind the ball, hit Plymouth on the counter-attack, and before you know it, they're 2-0 up. The players have got to handle that physical aspect. There's long throws that get bombarded into the box, so we're expecting a different threat, but so far players like a challenge, and they'll be up for this.
And also, it's changed the manager as well, and your good friend Martin Allen, he's moved on now, so how will that affect Barnet, do you think, going into this game?
I think with any change, there's always a manager that tries to change for their own ideas, their own philosophies, but I know what Martin done was a fantastic job, and I won't go changing that too much.
And I guess as well, they'll be thinking they can sneak into the playoffs because it's so close around there that they'll become thinking if we come here and take 3 points, we could take the Oval's place.
They'll want to kick on, they'll want to keep their momentum going like we do. But what I have to make sure is, I keep saying it every week, is that our performance levels we know the way we play. I keep saying we're easy to analyse at the moment, but very difficult to beat.
And going into the game, we know Matty Dolan's out. Darren Ward, has he still issues with his knee?
Yeah, we've still got problems with Darren, only because there's just that little bit of inflammation, and we want to make sure we manage him well, and it's important he makes the decisions as to when he's fit and available, because I know a Darren Ward playing on a Saturday brings a lot to the team. But at the same time, I keep saying every player that's stepped in, for any player, whether it be Matty Dolan, whether it be Darren Ward, I'm going to give them the responsibility, and it's up to them to take it. So far, what I've seen is every change that I've made, the player that stepped in is took that responsibility, so there's been no worry from me.